Hi Susie, how are you going today?
Hi, Craig. I'm doing very well. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good. We've had a bit of technical difficulties along the way, but
Yeah.
now we're all ready to go. But thank you very much for joining the podcast today. So tell us, my question is how are you going in the pandemic? Are your family staying safe? And for you, how has it sort of changed you? And you stay, yeah.
Um, well, thank you for asking. My family are all keeping very well. My grandmother actually did have COVID. There was an outbreak in her care home, but she has come through it and she has made a really good recovery. For the rest of my family are keeping well. The numbers have stayed pretty low in Northern Ireland. I think most people have been adhering to the guidelines, and we are a smaller country.
Yeah.
And then for myself, I've been working from home, which I have absolutely loved, and I don't intend to
Yes.
do anything any different now.
Yeah.
But it was an adjustment at the beginning, found it quite tough, but have definitely acclimatised now. And it's just a bit strange, kind of, that things are slightly relaxing.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Yeah, it's been very interesting. I as some of my listeners know, that I was in Shanghai at the time, and then when it first out when the outbreak first come, I come straight back to Australia. Um, I'm the same with you. It's not too bad here in Newcastle, the city of Newcastle, but Melbourne, unfortunately, has had a second outbreak, and they've sort of been locked down. So, um, but I think besides that, I think the rest of the country are doing okay. But yeah, if we can get Melbourne straight, I think we'll be on the path to better things. But yeah, my work is online, so it's been a blessing in disguise. Actually, I've worked harder in this period than I have normally. So
Same, same.
that's so. Is this the first time it's happened with you as well? Is like working online?
So I was transitioning towards moving online primarily anyway,
Right.
but kind of ramped that up a little bit, and
Yes.
yeah, yeah. So it's been a kind of a nice transition into it. It's worked well for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like we always think, like, why didn't we do this before? Like, what did it take a pandemic to sort of realize that we should be doing this all online, right?
No, definitely, 100%.
Yeah. So, Susie, you've had a very inspiring career, and I'm very excited to sort of tell, but it hasn't been all roses. There's been some, ups and downs along the way. So you are a therapist, a coach therapist,
Yep.
and you're also a business owner. Are you still doing the speech therapy?
So I am still certified as a speech and language therapist, but
Yeah.
I am slowly closing that practice down now. So I just actually have one remaining client,
Right.
and when my registration comes up for renewal, I'm not going to be continuing along that line of work. I have absolutely loved it, and it has set a very good basis for this just really wonderful career that I've had over the last few years. But it has been a stepping stone to something I feel is more aligned with me now.
Yeah.
So yeah, so not really doing speech therapy very much anymore. Building the therapy practice.
Right.
So I have been doing therapy and coaching. I am also about 2 weeks away from fully qualifying in rapid transformational therapy,
All
which
right.
is like hybrid therapy combining. It's sort of based on neuroscience. It was founded by a woman called Marissa Peer, and it incorporates principles of hypnotherapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, neuro-linguistic programming, it's psychotherapy. So it's a fabulous approach, and getting really good results with my sort of beta testers that I've been taking through that at the moment as well.
Wow.
And then, yeah, for a number of years, I was the lead allied health professional on a service for young people with an acquired brain injury. So I was the lead in Northern Ireland, so I would have gone around people's homes and worked primarily with the young person on their psychological adjustment to their injury, helping them with mood management, helping them with memory strategies, and supporting them to make friendships and things like that. So it's been really rewarding too, and it really kind of just showed me that more psychology based role is just so much more me. Definitely.
So let's go back just a little bit. You were saying about the speech therapy. How did you get involved with that? Was that something that you developed from after your study, or was it just something that you fell into?
So I originally started off doing an English degree because I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, when I left school. So I just, I'm all right at English, I'll just do an English degree. And then I was actually volunteering with a little lady who had had a stroke, and I would go to her house every week and sort of help her with her mood and her confidence, and we slowly kind of worked on getting her to come out of the house and go for coffee. And then within a year, she had got her first passport and taken her first holiday. She had barely left her house. So that was just wonderful. And during the English degree, we had a module, or like we had a lecture where they talked about brain injury and stroke, and then the impact of this on communication and on mood. And I was like, well, that's far more interesting than poetry. So, and I knew that I loved working with people, and from working with this little woman, I was just like, yeah, no, that's like, I need to know more about this. And I'm very much, I follow my instinct. When I really am passionate about something, I'll just go for it. So I then found the course that I wanted to do. So it was a 4-year Bachelor of Medical Science degree in Sheffield in England. So I had to wait for the following year to apply. So while I took that gap year, I volunteered 2 days a week as a classroom assistant in a special needs school. I took the summer and moved to Spain and did a beginner Spanish course up in the mountains, just for the fun of it.
Wow.
But it was also quite eye-opening, because I suppose my logic was, I want to be helping people to communicate. I want to empower people to be able to make their needs known and to just engage with life. So actually, by me going to Spain, and where I was, nobody spoke English. It really opened up my empathy and my understanding of how difficult that is. So that was fascinating. And then, yeah, the 4-year degree, which qualified me as a speech therapist as well, but the course was very broad. So it was neuroscience, biomedical sciences, counselling, human development. We did human dissection. There was just a whole lot of things, psychology modules. So it was a really, really broad course, linguistics and stuff as well. So it was fabulous. And then when I came back to Northern Ireland, there wasn't really any speech therapy jobs going.
Really?
Yeah, so the way it works over here is there's a waiting list system. So you apply once a year to go on a waiting list, and if a job comes up based on your rank on the waiting list, you'll get a job. So I did get offered one, but it was 2 days a week, part-time, maternity cover for a couple of months, and it was like the other side of Northern Ireland, and I would have had to have given up a full-time job to do it.
Right.
So I was like, this isn't really going to work. But I'm not one to be easily defeated. So if there's an obstacle, I'll try and find a way around it. So I contacted our Royal College of Speech Therapists, our Health and Care Professions Council, who would be our governing bodies. And I ended up being the first person in Northern Ireland to set up an independent practice as a newly qualified. So I had to then pay for like supervision, and within 8 months I got my full certification, my full membership, and built my little speech therapy practice. So I did that for a little while and I was enjoying it, but I hadn't taken it full time, and an opportunity then came up for the charity, which is the charity that I had volunteered with all those years ago with the little lady. Yes. And so everything kind of came full circle. So I then took that role there as the allied health professional, working with the young people. And I've kept the speech therapy on the side. And then over the last year or so, I really have been pursuing the coaching and kind of taking all of my knowledge and experience and personal growth and clinical experience and trying to help other people to grow and overcome obstacles.
Absolutely. That's so cool. And I can just tell it in your voice, and I can just tell how passionate you are, and how you want to, give your experiences and tell, and give it to other people. I think that's really, really very, very inspiring. So let's go back a little bit. You're talking about your was it 2 years? How long were you in Spain for?
Oh, just 2 months. I was just for the summer.
2 months.
Just 2 months.
Right. So tell us about, living in another country. It's always like a different experience, but like I have some Irish friends, and they just say, "Oh, what are you going to do for the weekend?" "Oh, I've booked a flight to go to Spain for the weekend." And it's like, damn you. You could just get on a flight and go to Spain for the weekend. So tell us about that experience. What was it like?
Yeah, so it was a wonderful experience. I really cherished that experience. I went with an ex-partner, and we got a lovely little apartment, and it happened just by pure fluke. It was 2 doors down from the university. And it was just such a lovely experience. So I was in class 5 days a week, but it was a place called Ronda up in the mountains, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Just the pace of life there was like they still had siestas, which is something that I am just so not used to. Quite a busy, like on the go kind of person. So actually having that kind of permission to just chill a little bit in the afternoon was really, really nice. But the best thing that came out of it was in my class, I was the only native English speaking person. And we were all able to go out for drinks every Friday. We were able to like cobble together like bits of Spanish, bits of English, little bits of other people's languages, and still make these really good friendships. So it was lovely, and like the lecturers would come out with us too. It was great. It was just a really lovely, different experience. And obviously I was learning too, so I was doing a bit of study in the daytime, and then being able to go to the shop in the evening and try and like practice what I learned, which was really good. I have noticed, that was so that would have been 2011. So my Spanish is definitely not.
I was just about to ask you that.
So if we speak Spanish, I can understand it a lot better than I can speak it. Right. My comprehension would still be fairly strong, but my spoken isn't brilliant. I do actually have a Spanish neighbour though, so I have been trying to kind of jog my memory again.
That's what it's all about. If you're not practicing, you may as forget it. You just unless you've got an amazing memory, and it's just impossible to. I'm still trying to learn Chinese. I'm terrible at it. My Mandarin, and it's one of the hardest languages. So. Oh, Craig, you've lived there for 4 years. You shouldn't you be fluent? And it's like, no, no, definitely not. But I've also seen that you've been to Australia, right? Have you been to Australia?
I have. I think that might have been 2012. Yes, I've been to Australia. Right. So
well, lucky girl. So 2011, you got Spain, and 12 Australia. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. How did that all come about?
So we again went with an ex-partner, and we went to Sydney. We went to the Gold Coast, and we went up. We were going to go to Fraser Island, but when we were staying at Rainbow Beach, there was like a storm. The year I went was the coldest winter in 30 years. And I was determined I was going to get a tan. So I was walking around in my shorts and my t-shirt, and everybody else has like scarves on.
Oh no.
I had to buy a hoodie at Taronga Zoo because it was so cold.
Yeah, right.
But you know what?
What season did you come in? What season did you come in?
July. No, June, July. So it was.
That's our winter.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for Northern Ireland, I mean, that's a summer's day. You should be in a t-shirt and shorts, right? Yeah.
Pretty much. That's what I was doing anyway. But,
that's it.
So no, I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I would love to come back again. It's just I didn't see enough. I think I think I was there for 6 or 7 weeks, which really wasn't enough to kind of see everything.
People don't realize how big the country is. It's huge. It's to go from the major city to city is taking such a long time to do. Yeah. Have you been anywhere else? It seems like you've been a bit of a traveler in your time. It's great to see, and great to let your eyes up as well. Seeing all different cultures and lifestyles. So, what's one of the places that you've seen and you've just gone, wow?
Greece, really. I went to Zakynthos, or Zante, people call it. I think it must have been 2 or 3 years ago, and we went to a place called the Shipwreck Beach, and it is just unbelievable. The water, I've never seen water that colour before in my life. We got a boat trip out, so you have to go to this private cove. You can only get to it by boat, and then there's a big shipwreck. It was wonderful. It was absolutely stunning. And I've always found, I've been to Greece a couple of times in my life, and I've always found that the Greek people are so polite and so lovely. And I love that when you go places and people actually really want to talk to you. And, I love that. So Greece, and then last year I was in Croatia, Madrid, and then Barcelona. Went to Barcelona for a thing called the International Fitness Summit, which was really good.
I do believe that. No, sorry to cut you off there. I do believe that you have a certificate in fitness as well. Is that true?
Yes. So I just for sort of a hobby last year as well, did my fitness instructing, and I have the information to do my level 3 personal training, but it hasn't been a priority this year, so I haven't really pursued that. But I had lost a lot of weight a few years ago, and never had any kind of interest in fitness growing up. Was always kind of the chubby kid, and the one would try and get a note to get out of going to PE. And then when I was 24, really had this sort of lifestyle overhaul.
I would do the same thing, but it wasn't because I was overweight. I just didn't want to be in school, So over the last few years, then I was like, this is just an area that
you know, it always seemed so unattainable to me, and so just like, oh no, what, like that's not the kind of thing I could ever do. So I was like, no, actually, do you know what? Like, this is something I'm really interested in, and I love learning. If you haven't really picked that up already, like I just love learning so many different things.
Susie, that's what it's all. Life is all about: learning things and trying new things, and you know, it's just, in my opinion, that's what life is all about. You know, it is doing that. I want to talk to. Let's go back, way back to the start. So, you know, you grew up in Northern England. You grew up in Belfast, is that right? I'm assuming.
Yeah, so originally lived right up the north coast of Northern Ireland in a place called Larne, which is about 40 minutes away from Belfast.
Right.
So lived there when I was younger with my mum and my dad. So it was that myself and my mum, and my mum is amazing.
Yeah.
She's just my rock.
Nice.
So she was a doctor. She is a doctor, but she was working sort of 3 jobs when I was little. So she'd have worked her main job in the hospital, and then she would have been on call for a nursing hospital the evenings and weekends one week, and then the other week she would have been on call as a forensic medical officer for the police. So
Wow.
I grew up between...
Smart girl as well.
Oh, she's amazing.
Yeah.
So I grew up in the police station and in the nursing hospital as well. So I would sit and talk to all the wee old people in the nursing hospital. I just loved it. And then when I would go with her to the police station, I would just sort of, they definitely wouldn't let you do this now. I was just like sitting there, like, listening to all the stories, and people getting booked in, and then there's just this little blonde child like peeping like through a window, like smiling at them. So yeah. And then when I was around 5 years old, my grandmother and my cousin moved in with us. My cousin's mum had sadly passed away, and so my mum took her in too. So for all intents and purposes, she is my sister. She's my cousin, but she's my sister, and she has 2 little boys now, and I would say that I'm their auntie.
That's great.
Yeah, so very close. And then my mum got married when I was 10, and we moved a bit closer to Belfast then.
Was it different from going from a small town to Belfast?
Oh yeah. Well, we actually moved out to the countryside, so we went from a small town out into like there's just fields. So it was a big change for me, because I love the seaside. Like my heart's just by the coast. So that was grand. We moved up here, and then I'd struggled quite a bit in my teenage years. I have to say, like there was a couple of difficult things that sort of happened over the years. I was quite an angry teenager by the time I was sort of 15 or 16.
Bit of a rebel.
Yes. And just didn't really know how to channel my emotions, but I would have on the surface, absolute perfectionist, high achiever, you know, always had. Sorry. Sorry. I was reading that at the start you were a bit of a shy person as well. Is that true? Yeah, I think I'm definitely an introvert. I definitely like a lot of alone time and to just sort of spend time in my own head, and kind of like I find that one-to-one is ideal for me. Group situations I find quite overwhelming, and I would sort of need a bit of downtime afterwards. So like sometimes, you know, if we had lots of friends around at the weekend, I almost need to like the Monday, Tuesday to like kind of just feel centered again.
Yes.
I can be quite, I'd be more into myself, but I would be quite confident in speaking to people and in talking to new people. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see it now. Very confident, just talking. So, and then you went to university. Was it Belfast that you went to university?
Yes. Yeah, so I went to Queen's University in Belfast, and so that's where I started the English degree. So I did just under a year of that degree, and then I was just working waitressing and odd jobs while I was doing that. So that was.
Do you remember much about your study of English?
Do you know what? Not really. I actually prefer non-fiction books. So it's funny now when I look back and I'm like, you don't even really like fiction. So what were you doing? But yes. It just seemed like the logical next step because English was my best subject at school, and I think it was just like buffer time for me to try and figure things out.
Yes.
And like everyone else was going to university, but no, it wasn't. That degree wasn't for me. But I still made some friends and all experience.
And I think too, like I think everybody goes through that sort of period. I mean, the one that I chose IT at the start and end up doing that, and then it just wasn't for me as well. So it's just going through and just working it out yourself. What you enjoy and what you think you're going to get out of it as well. So,
and I really think that I was quite lost when I was younger, and I really thought that I knew who I was or what I wanted, and it turns out that I really, really didn't. And I feel like only over maybe the last couple of years I've kind of really stepped into kind of really knowing myself and not always trying to bend to please everybody else or live up to other people's expectations. So yeah, I'm really glad that I've kind of taken this windy path.
Yes. So that's what I wanted to get through. So when did you start doing this therapy coaching, motivating, and is it just for women, or are you just focusing on women at the moment, or if a man come up to you and said, hey, can you do what you do for the women? Would you say no, or go and see somebody else, or tell us about that? I know there's a lot of questions there, but
no, that's absolutely fine. So, okay, I'm going to back it up just a tiny bit. That a couple of years ago, when I had, I'd basically.
Let's go through some of the down sort of periods to then go to this period. So I have a list here, and it's just one sort of bad thing after another unfortunate thing, and you're not the only one. Everybody goes through these tough periods, and it's you as a person, to decide whether you want to just whinge and complain for the rest of your life, or you want to do something about it and change your life. So, okay, your father passed away, unfortunately. It's terrible. I was injured in a car accident. So
yes. So when I was 22 or 23, can't fully remember now, myself and my ex-husband were both in a car accident, and from that I've ended up with arthritis in my spine.
Oh God.
And when the car accident, it was almost like it was the final straw of I've just lost control. I've been trying to keep control, I've been trying to keep control of my grades and everything else, and I just was like, that got taken away. So not long after the car accident, then still going to physiotherapy, my husband came home one day and said, I've quit my job and I've booked the boat and I'm going back to Northern Ireland. So that left me on my own.
So where were you at the time? That was
in
one of the
Sheffield.
things. Oh, right.
So I was living in England. So for because we moved there in 2012. So just after Australia, right. I got married and then moved to Sheffield. So it was a 4-year degree. So I was there from 2012 to 2016. So this happened 2013-14. And yeah, so after he left, the day after that, we had got a car to replace the one that had been written off, and it broke down on the dual carriageway. It just stopped. When I,
oh dear. Oh dear.
It ended up being, it had been sold to me under like false pretenses, and so I put like whatever remaining money I had towards it, and basically it had to be scrapped for £300. And it wasn't drivable. And then the day after that, my landlady came round and said, oh, they were putting the rent up in the whole building. And then the house that I owned in Belfast, I had been renting it out to tenants, and we'd had some really awful tenants in who had completely smashed the place up. They had smashed tiles, they'd ripped up carpets, the house was meant to be non-smoking and no pets, and they let the dog go to the toilet all around the house. There was cigarette butts everywhere, there was coffee stains like on the roof.
Are they human beings or what?
Yeah, so that was tough too. We didn't really get the compensation that we were meant to get, and there was just, I was kind of running out of any kind of energy to actually even focus or try and fix things. We ended up getting the house fixed up, and then I got this lovely little couple had moved in for 2 days before somebody graffitied the front of the house to say locals only, because they were an Indian couple, and there's some horrible racist people, and I know. And then the house was vacant for like 8 months, so I wasn't getting the rent in, wasn't able to pay my bills. And it just felt like it was like one thing after the other. I was I completely stopped sleeping, so I've struggled with
no sleep, increased weight, binging on eating and drinking, panic attacks. Your marriage unfortunately ended as well. So this is just one hit after another. So when was the time where it was like, you know what, because sure you would have grieved over, but how long was the grieving time? And then when did you sort of realize that I need to pick myself up and sort of, if nobody else is going to help me, I'm gonna have to do it myself?
Yeah. So I suppose it kind of, all of those things had happened, and I remember I'd said to my mum, like, if one more thing goes wrong, like, that's it. I just cannot do this anymore. And then my dad died. So it was kind of the very final stressor. And my family didn't actually tell me until after the funeral. So we had been estranged, but I had been trying to find him, and I was just in such a state that they were like, I don't know if she's actually capable of knowing this right now. So they told me a couple of days later. I had been out with friends the night before, so I found out when I was hungover, which was also delightful. And
makes it even worse.
And then I actually found out that I had older half sisters, younger half brothers.
No.
It was a whole, like, it opened a whole, like, Pandora's box, but it was also, sometimes it felt really surreal. Sometimes I was like, is this actually real life? But then I still had a bit of like fight in me, and I'd actually remember one day I had organised a bake sale for the Stroke Association, and I had baked, like, because I was still trying to do things. I think I was still going to university. I'd missed a bit here and there, and I had postponed some exams, but I was still so determined that I was going to complete uni. and I was running a stroke group for like people who'd had a stroke or Parkinson's. I was running this little communication group, and it really kept me going. But I remember I baked all these cupcakes, and I went to go out the front door, and I had such a panic attack that I couldn't actually leave the house, and I had to phone my friends and say, like, can you come and pick these up? Like, I think I've hit the wall. Like, I'm really struggling. So I phoned one of my university lecturers that I got on with really well, and she was so supportive, and she was just like, it's okay to cry, and it's okay to kind of let all of this out. And so I ended up then, I got a referral in to see a psychologist for post-traumatic stress and to deal with the trauma. And within that, she did one kind of hypnosis session where it went back to like a scene in my childhood, and that was like the first relief I'd had in years. I honestly felt like a new person. And then I went back for more kind of talking therapy, and I just started to get my strength back. And I really it was one of those things where I was like, right, I can either let this defeat me, and then I'll have to, live the rest of my life knowing that I gave up, or I can absolutely grow through this. I'm not the only person who had tough things happen. Like, I was working obviously with people who had gone through things far more difficult than I had on a daily basis. So I was getting a lot of strength from their stories. And I remember it was the 15th of July 2015, and I was like, I'm going to start running. I'm going to get healthy. I was like, because my graduation was going to be the following year. My weight had ballooned to over 14 stone. I was really just uncomfortable in my clothes. It just felt really unhealthy. I wasn't sleeping. And I said, right, for my graduation, I am going to feel confident in this dress. And I was imagining myself walking on stage, and all I wanted to lose was 20 pounds. So I kind of had this plan. I started the Couch to 5K, and I went out running the first day for like a minute, and I was absolutely beetroot red and nearly coughed up a lung. But I went out and I did it again the next day. And when I started the running, I found that it was actually then making me want to eat better, because I was kind of like, well, what's the point in doing all this exercise if I'm just going to eat it all back again? And so I started eating healthier. I started sleeping better. Within 5 weeks, I had lost the 20 pounds, which I thought was going to take me the year. I could run 5K within 5 or 6 weeks. And then it was like a rocket had launched. It was like, it just ignited this spark. And the ripple effect was, I started losing weight. I started getting stronger. I started getting healthier, happier, sleeping better. I wasn't as reactive to things. I was really prioritizing things like self-care and meditation. And even if I couldn't sleep, it was like, okay, well, I'll just listen to music, or I'll get up and read. And things didn't seem just as intense. It just felt like for so long, everything was just like closing in on me. And it was like, it opened up so much space. Within 8 months, I had lost 60 pounds.
That is amazing.
And then I graduated then top of my year. So I got a first class honours degree, and on my graduation day, I got my degree, but I also then got 3 university prizes. So I got to walk.
Wow.
So that vision of me walking the stage actually happened like 4 times. And I was really confident in my dress, and my family all came. And then a couple of weeks later, I ended up, I got invited by Women's Health magazine UK to London for a photo shoot. So they did like my before and after pictures, and they did like a story about me. And because I had started documenting a little bit on my Instagram of my transformation, And when I had shared like one of my transformation pictures, it got a lot of attention, and it was
Sorry, just before you go there, tell us your experience about the whole photo shoot and the interview in the magazine.
Oh, it was amazing. So the guy who took my photos, he had photographed David Attenborough
Right.
the weekend before. So I just found that absolutely amazing. But it was weird because, like, I'm not the girliest of girls, or I never really felt like the pretty girl. So it was weird to have like all this attention and have people doing my makeup and my hair, and like, because I didn't know how to pose. Like, I obviously, like, I know how to take a photo, but I don't really know how to pose, and like, but it was great. So we went to a few different locations. We went around different gyms. They let me wear all these like fancy clothes that I couldn't afford, and it was just such a special day. They took us out for lunch. It was really special, and it was such a peak after such a low.
Yes.
So it was just, and it was mad because that was within less than a year. Like that, it was about a year from I went for the first run till I was in London on this all expenses paid trip, which it's just phenomenal. And my family were so proud, and like, what was really nice as well is a lot of people then started reaching out to me, and because what I kept saying was that, yes, it was around the health and fitness, but that really came from the mindset work, the inner work I was doing, the healing the traumas. That was what allowed that ripple effect. You know, when you heal that stuff, that's when you can actually show up in all the other areas of your life. It's kind of the glue. So that's when people kind of started looking to me for a bit more like advice around like mindset and overcoming obstacles and goal setting, and so I kind of had a bit of an unofficial role as a motivational kind of speaker to friends and I suppose some people on the internet, the power of Instagram.
Oh, sorry. We'll talk about your Instagram a little later. But has anybody approached you, or have you ever thought of maybe doing like a book, telling about your story?
I have thought about it. Nobody's approached me, but I would. It's on my list of things I think I would really like to do. It was actually only. Well, I thought about writing a book for a while, but it was more so this year that I was like, yeah, I could probably do with making this happen.
I think it'd be very, very good, very, very motivating and inspiring. And now that you've got your coaching as well, you go into your Instagram. You want to do a quick shout out on your Instagram, and what is your Instagram?
So it's I am Suzi Turner, and that's SUZI.
Great. And I just wanted to talk about that. Like, you can go on there and you can see all these different sort of philosophies, and just talking about your experiences in that time. I wanted to talk about one of them with your weight loss, and it was a good analogy of Coca-Cola. Now, I don't mind a drink of cola as well, but you just talking a little bit about it. Can you just explain again about that analogy of, one glass of cola?
Yeah, sure. So there are about 140 calories in a 330 ml can of Coca-Cola. So say, for example, you were to drink 1 can a day for 5 days a week. That's 700 calories a week. So over a month, that's 2,800 calories. Over a year, that's 33,600 calories, and works out at roughly 240 cans of Coke over the year. So now, it only takes 3,500 calories to put on a pound of fat. So 25 cans of Coke roughly equals 1 pound of weight gain. So
Wow.
you're drinking 1 can a day, 5 days a week, over a year, that's roughly 9.6 pounds of fat you could put on. So the point of me kind of mentioning that was it's actually within our control to make big changes in our lives by making small changes, so micro habits. So every time you then say, oh no thank you, I'll have water instead, you're actually taking a step in favor of your health or your goals or whatever it is. And so it doesn't have to be like massively complicated. You don't have to really overhaul your life. But if you continue, that's why people do tend to put more weight on each year when they don't change things, because all it takes is 140 calories extra a day for you to start putting on 10 pounds a year.
That's it. So it's comfortable. You don't have to change anything. It's just, just keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, and I really like that for my clients as well, to keep things simple and that they can actually fit into their lives, because I know that most people don't have, lots of time in the mornings or the evenings, or some people have children or they work crazy hours. So you have to be able to kind of slot self-care and health around your lifestyle.
Yes.
And kind of, I like to make it so that things can be easily integrated, and especially anchoring your routines and, making sure if there's things you really want to get done, do them first thing in the morning before you kind of run out of steam the rest of the day. Our willpower is like a muscle. It starts to fatigue at the end of the day. That's why it's harder to say no to biscuits, and that's why at the weekend it's harder to say no to the wine. So yeah.
I hear you. Yes, I think everybody has their little sweet tooths here and there. And it was interesting. A couple of weeks ago, we had a guy who put out a book, and he's done 1,000 push-ups. He does 1,000 push-ups a day. Ted Scup from the US, and he's done 14 million push-ups.
Whoa.
So if that's not motivating enough, if he can do it for so many years, and still be able to do 1,000 push-ups a day, you can take away one can of Coke or one bottle of wine. That's a lot easier, I think, than doing 1,000 push-ups, right?
Yeah, I was about to say I did 10 this morning, and that puts my 10 to shame. But 10's still better than none.
Come on, no, that's what he said. You do 10 today, you do 11 tomorrow. You've done one more than we did yesterday. So, sort of a little similar. But yeah, that's a great analogy, and I really like that. I'm a Coke drinker myself, so I'm gonna keep it. I'll keep that in mind. Another thing that I was really interested with your therapy coaching as well is your 4 S's: struggle, stress, strength, and success. So tell us about these 4 S's.
So I kind of like to think of the first part of the journey is the struggle and the stress, and where we're getting to is the strength and success. But to get the strength and success, you have to go through the struggle and stress. It's like absolutely anything in life, even if we're talking about exercise with, building muscle, there really is no pain, no gain. But also in terms of like emotional resilience and overcoming trauma, there is a thing called post-traumatic growth, and that people really do have the capacity to grow exponentially after experiencing hardships. So I like to show people that you can experience real struggle, and that's part of the human condition too. Stress is something that is always going to be there, but we can learn how to get stronger through it, and we can learn how to then cultivate that strength into our own version of success. And I suppose success is quite a broad word, and I don't think it's not just around, accolades and awards or finances, but it's also about what success means to that individual. So
Yes.
for me, I'll have reached my peak success when I have my house overlooking the sea and I have my dog. That's that is my ultimate level.
Yes.
And but beforehand, my first, I was measuring like, okay, 20 pounds, that'll be a success. Obviously, getting through all of those things, I've counted those as little successes as well. But when I'm working with clients,
steps, right?
Yeah, it's very much about what they want and what their goals are. Yeah.
Excellent. And I saw that your mission for the whole therapy coaching is, in this period especially, and it's a big number, mission is to support 100,000 people.
Yeah.
How is that all going? And do you have like a story that through your therapy and your coaching that has inspired you as well?
Yeah, so I really want to support 100,000 people, and I'm going to set a big goal. I think it's a big goal, but I've also done some big things that I never thought were going to be possible.
Yes.
So that has kind of expanded my own belief in what is possible. The reason I want to do it through the ripple effect of healing and empowerment. And basically, all my life I have grown up around really conscientious, hardworking, self-sacrificing women and men, but primarily, like, my little unit was primarily women. And I've seen how much they were able to give love, support, forgiveness, and advice to other people, but couldn't really give it to themselves. And the majority of those women sort of headed on a route to burnout. And through the professions I've had and the other professionals I've worked with, I see that a lot of people are so caring, so compassionate, and they really want to give their best and be their best, but they really struggle to look after themselves in the process. And when that happens, the ripple effect is then negative to all the people that they were trying to support too, because when you burn out and have to come out of work, or you burn out and completely change careers, that's not supporting the wider kind of numbers that you were actually wanting to support. So very much around helping people fill up their own cup. You can't pour from an empty cup, and the cliche around, you have to put your own oxygen mask on before you help others. But it's true, when we are operating from a place of us feeling more whole, more healed, and being able to kind of sustain the support that we're giving to other people, that's where I come in. So I'm working primarily with women, but that is just at the moment. I am looking to expand some of my services out to all people, so it won't just be necessarily exclusively women, but it's just the program I have been developing at the start has been women to kind of, I suppose, also to help me find my feet as well, and my confidence, and sort of my niche. But I have kind of had a few more requests from men recently, so I think it's something to look into.
And you know what? Also, like teenagers, I think that you would be the perfect person if you've lived that. You've lived that, going through that period. The teenage period. So I think that you'd be the best person for it. That is amazing, Suzi. Thank you for that. So let's start wrapping it up here. So for the people living here in Australia, especially the women that are listening, or people that are interested, friends of friends, that want to get in contact with you, what's the best way to get in contact with you? What's your social medias? Can you share, please?
Yes, so the best place to get me is Instagram for the moment. So at I am Suzi Turner. So Suzi is SUZI. I also have a website, so www.suziturner.com. I am also on Facebook, also at I am Suzi Turner. I will be showing up more on social media now. I have been really focusing more on the back end of the business and on my clients recently. So my social media presence has been quite sparse, but it will be growing again. And yeah, so I'm happy to chat. If people want to, send me a message, that'd be brilliant. My inbox is always open. And even if somebody wanted to arrange a quick chat, they're always able to. And you can even book in if you wanted to chat through my website as well. I have an online scheduling system there. So,
great.
Yeah.
And I also noticed that you also have a newsletter as well that you can sign up to as well when you go onto the website. So
yeah. So every Tuesday I send out a newsletter. So just tangible and actionable advice and support, and just sometimes little insights about my life, or kind of, I know some of my clients are maybe going through some things, I can kind of tailor some of the support, because it really resonates with everyone. And I do get a lot of messages back to say it feels like you were just writing that about me, and and so it's really like I've got this really lovely audience. It's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel that you've got, like, we didn't really mention it, but a good family and friend support around you as well, right?
Oh yeah. My mum and I are two peas in a pod. We are just absolute best friends.
Yes.
And I've got my partner as well, and close family. Yeah, so I'm very good friends. So, and actually, over this last year or so, I really have made so many more friends from the online space. So, like one of my closest friends now lives in New York, which is amazing, and Australia. So
Good old Craig from Australia.
So it's amazing.
Mate.
I'm not even going to attempt the accent.
Come on, give us a good day, mate. Come on. Good day, mate.
Good day, mate. Terrible.
Like you're native.
Oh dear.
And finally, Suzi, what does the future hold for Suzi Turner?
Oh, I think the future is going to be big and bright. I think I will definitely write a book. I would love to travel more.
Yes.
I would love to be able to grow my business and support more people. So maybe through online courses, and I want to release some meditations. And so
family of your own, maybe?
What was that? Oh, a podcast of my own, did you say?
No, a family of your own.
Yes, eventually I would like a dog first. That is
a dog in the sea, right? Yeah.
Dogs by the sea. Yeah. So that is the
priorities.
Yeah. Very much.
Awesome. That's great. Now to finish off, I just asked some random questions, and we get off the topic, and we just talk about just things in general, just the first thing that comes into your mind, and away we go.
Okay.
All right, Suzi, what are your top 3 favorite musical artists?
Oh, I like... Who do I like? I'm trying to think. So I like... well, my favorite song is Here I Go Again by Whitesnake, because that's my granny's favorite song.
Come on.
So
bit of a rocker, is she?
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's brilliant. 85 and just like loves her rock music.
Come on.
And she's absolutely tiny and blonde and just adorable. But yeah, her son, like my uncle, is like a biker and has the long hair and the motorbike and wears the leathers and stuff. So and so who else? I really like Adele and Ed Sheeran as well. Just quite relaxing music, things like that. Yeah.
And sporting teams? Do you have any sporting teams that you follow or that you like?
I like watching the tennis, but in terms of teams, I'm obligated to support Juventus because my partner supports Juventus in the football. So,
It's not a bad team to follow. They're quite a good team.
So in my kitchen, we have a big picture on the wall of all of the kit over the years. Wow. So yeah, so Juventus. So I think the plan is maybe next year to go to Turin and watch them play.
Right. So besides tennis, is there anything else any other sports that you like to play?
I like not so much like team sports, but I like going to the gym and running, and yeah, the gym probably more so for me now, but more of an antisocial exerciser.
Now, this is an interesting question because I know that we've had a couple of people that have actually been reality TV, but do you like to watch reality TV shows?
No, I don't really watch a lot of TV.
I'm with you there.
When I was younger, yes. Like when I was a teenager, like I would have watched like Big Brother and like the Kardashians and stuff, and then, but like no, I don't really watch TV. I far prefer podcasts, audiobooks, reading. So I tend to try and read at least one book a week, but also try and listen to an audiobook every week as well. So I'm trying to get two in. So that's just more of I just find that more interesting.
Right. And your top 3 traveling destinations?
Australia.
You win.
Greece and I'm trying to think where else. Well, there's somewhere I've not been to, but I want to go to is Iceland.
Yes. That's what I was going to say next.
My middle name is Icelandic. It's Audur, Audur. So I have been mistaken many times in my life as being from like Iceland or so I would very much like to go.
Right. And final question, who is your biggest hero?
My mum.
Oh, I was hoping you would say that. That's
yeah, 100%.
That's great. And if you had a second hero?
My granny.
Oh, the rocker.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Suzi, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for coming on the show. Truly inspiring story, how you've come from, it was almost bottomed out, but you worked super hard to get where you are at the moment, and I'm just really happy for you that you found happiness and the future is very bright, and I hope people hear this and sort of inspire them to do the same thing.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Not a worry, Suzi. Thank you very much for your time, and remember to come back to Australia. You're always welcome. And I had planned to go to the UK and Europe this year. Unfortunately, I couldn't do it. So if I get over there, I will definitely look you up.
Yes, 100%. Just let me know and we'll catch up.
Time for a Guinness or something?
It's always time for a Guinness.
All right, Suzi. Thank you for your time. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.